let's get back on it. You know what I mean? And there's this kind of bravado involved. All New Yorkers are like that. But underneath the surface, there's still a kind of lingering anxiety that we have experienced. And so, but eventually, and that includes the Muslims. So eventually the Muslims kind of work past that. Now, you know, we kind of move back in spite of frequent attacks upon Islam by right-wing forces, okay, who every couple of years come up with a Muslim boogeyman theory or Muslim boogeyman activity. And then we just had a mayor and a police commissioner in place for the past 12 years who were always, in my opinion, I'm expressing my personal opinion, observation now, who always took advantage of that below the surface anxiety, being aware of it, particularly the police commissioner. And the Muslims more or less went for the Okey-Doke, many of them. You know, the Muslim immigrant ethnicities, they went for the, you know, the appearance on the part of certain government officials of being, oh, no, we're in favor of the Muslims, and we ain't got nothing against you, and that kind of thing, but only because these same Muslim brothers and sisters, being unfamiliar with America as a nation and being unfamiliar with strategies and how they do what they do based on what they have done, they were fooled by this veneer of civility because and I'm going to go right to the NYPD now, because at the same time that the New York City Police Department, and let me just digress for a minute to say, you know, people should be aware of how globally influential the New York Police Department is. The New York Police Department is the police department that trains police departments across the nation. It's the NYPD that goes to Israel, NYPD that's here and there. People, and there are some people that don't understand that. So as we progress 5 years into the decade, the new decade after 9/11, at the same time that they were shaking Muslim hands and forming cricket clubs and having dinners, you know, and inviting imams out for bagel and coffee and all that kind of stuff. At the same time that they were doing that, they were, under the guise of anti-terrorism, they were forming a Muslim surveillance program, a program that specifically targeted Muslims, you know, within the spectrum of New York. We don't know to this day whether or not they targeted all these right-wing people, when that terrorist in Norway slaughtered all of those Muslim men, women, and children, and they read his manifesto. It was clear that the people who had shaped and molded his thinking on an ideological level, those were Americans. You know, American, what we now call Islamophobes. That's who he was quoting. That's who he was looking at. And many of those people are right here in New York. So I remember once we were in a meeting before we became aware of the Muslim surveillance. The imams throughout the city, we were in a large meeting with a former police commissioner, Ray Kelly, and I asked him about that directly during a Q&A. We know you watching us. Are you watching them? He never answered the question. Danced around the question, okay?